So I was in Dubai a couple weeks ago. Had an amazing time. Was kind of blown away by what's going on over there. I was also at GITEX, which is like the largest technology conference in the world.
I was there as well.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, I was speaking there as well. It was insane.
Yeah, I think I missed you just by a couple hours. And so I hosted a Web3 gaming panel, and there was a bunch of people on there in different spaces of Web3 gaming. And there was a guy from the esports world called Paul, the esports prophet.
Okay.
And he got up there and he basically just stopped everybody. And he said, look, you guys all talk about your Web3 games, but they're not fun to play. And he said, you can give me tokens, you can give me these NFTs, but if they're not fun to play, then you've missed the whole point, is what he said. And he said, also, when you give me tokens, it becomes a job, and that's not fun, is what he said. Now, he was very insistent, and he's known for these kind of mic drop moments, but you weren't there, so we didn't.
I would have loved to debate this.
I know, and that's why I want to ask you, because I think you would have been the one person, because most of the people up there didn't have a lot to say to fight back against that. And a lot of people ended up kind of agreeing with him, even though they were in the Web3 gaming space. So what would you say to that argument?
So first of all, it takes a long time to make a good game, right? So that's the first point. When Angry Birds first came out with mobile games back in basically 2010 and 2011, it showed the world what a mobile game could be, for the smartphone device. That didn't mean that Angry Birds was the best mobile game ever made, nor did it demonstrate that this is the future of mobile games. It was just the way in which people got excited and understood its potential. When you look at Axie Infinity, for instance, which is a game that people love to knock because it's kind of like the Angry Birds, I would say, of blockchain games, they look and they comment on the graphics and the fact that it doesn't look as good and all that kind of stuff. Well, Angry Birds doesn't look that great either if you think about it, but it onboarded a whole bunch of new generation type of players and it was fun for that group of people. But again, it's not to say that that's how all blockchain games are going to be. It's a little bit like saying, oh, well, Angry Birds is a mobile game, which by the way, a lot of mobile game critics said, oh, that's a mobile game? I don't care, I'm going to go back to play my console games. Because of course, it takes some time to develop these kind of quality games. So the first point I would say is that these quality games have all started to emerge. So if you take a look at a game like Phantom Galaxies, for instance, or what we're doing, for instance, with Torque Drift, right? These are games that are already out there. You can try them out. These are AAA, high quality type of games. They are fun to play. But have they tried them out? I don't know. But if he did, he will probably recognize that this is what he would classify, for instance, as a real game. And as I said, close to $3 billion or maybe $3 billion has been invested in Web3 gaming this year alone, from different investors, all from people from the gaming industry. So that's the other thing. Like 3-4 years ago, many of the people who were in the space were, I guess you could say, DeFi or Web3 guys first, who then said, gaming makes a lot of sense, which it does, but they don't know anything about making games. And this has changed really in the last sort of 18 months. Like I think, for instance, one of the reasons why I think Sandbox is working so well is because the people at Sandbox didn't just understand Web3. They were building a game company for the last 10 years. So, it's true. You need gaming experience. Finally, though, and I think the biggest point is that when people say blockchain or Web3 gaming isn't fun, well, first of all, fun according to who, right? And this is the whole point. Freedom. The ownership aspect, the fact that it's yours, it's your choice. It's your freedom to decide what is free. It's not fun for you. It's okay. It's not your game. By the way, there are hundreds of thousands of games on the App Store that you probably will also say is not fun, after all, right? But there's enough, and there's probably the game that you love that another set of gamer would say, I don't like this. This is not fun for me. That's the point. It's not to say that Web3 gaming is not fun or whatever it is, because not everyone has the same taste, right? It's like saying we all must love French food or we all must love Chinese food. Actually, we love different things, and that's what makes us special about people. That's how we build communities. This, the esports gamer, that you're talking about, maybe he doesn't like Candy Crush, but guess what? It's one of the biggest games in the world. What are the two biggest games in the world? Roblox and Minecraft. And I can guarantee you that most pro gamers would say that's not a real game, except it's bigger than PUBG, it's bigger than Apex, it's bigger than Fortnite, it's bigger than any other game that's out there. Really, all we're saying is that we're diverse as people. We like different things. And what's beautiful about Web3 and blockchain gaming is you can make a successful game or a sustainable game because of the economics involved that has only tens of thousands of users, or maybe even less, because the value is there. That's the thing. Whereas today in Web2 gaming, because our value is nothing, where we're literally mined for just dollars over time, you need to have 10 or 20 million users in the game to be successful. And that's the problem. So we're all trying to sort of coalesce around these sort of massive games. But that there's less choice for us as end users. We don't want to play only one kind of game. We want to have many choices of games. The small studios can't afford it. And so Web3 allows this. So I think that's really the biggest point here, which is it's not fun for you, but it's fun for other people.
And what about when he says, when you give us tokens, it becomes a job?
That's a choice. Because you get tokens, you can choose to reinvest it back in the game. You can choose to buy more assets in the game, which, by the way, happens with virtual currency all the time. When you play an RPG game, when you play PUBG, for instance, when you play Fortnite, you earn income. Now, the only difference is that you could here have at least the choice to take your income out if it was a blockchain game. But more likely than not, you're going to reinvest that income back in the game because you love the game. I mean, if you ask, your children who are playing these type of games, and, he earned $100 inside the game for his victories or whatever he did, do you think he's going to cash out? Or do you think he's going to buy the next skin? And the chances are he's going to buy the next skin. What does he want for Christmas, right? What does he want for his birthday? He wants something virtual. I think Roblox demonstrated that as well in sort of their extractive 75% tax way, that people have the ability to make money, and some people do make money, but most of it stays in the ecosystem. Right? So again, it's about freedom. It's about your choice. Now, one of the dynamics that becomes, I guess, trickier is that when you create an open marketplace in the game, there are going to be people who will be playing the game basically for value. That's true, because they see an opportunity there. So that means that from a gaming system, you now have players interacting with it in a manner where they're there for money and you may be there for fun. But I don't think that's necessarily wrong, because it happens in games all the time. For instance, there are services that carry you. Now, what that means is that you're not that good in a game. Every gamer will know what I'm talking about here, which is that I can't get to this leaderboard rank in Apex Legends, I can't get to this rank in say, Fortnite. So I team up with members who can do that. They pay you hundreds of dollars to basically level you up. I mean, what is this? It's a financial service, right? Actually, what's the difference with that? And it's a choice, except it's technically illegal, right? But it's again the same thing, which is there's an economic activity that takes place for a subset of users who want to achieve this. The classic gamer will say, oh, he's cheating, all that stuff, it's not great, but they still do it. Just go online and search how many virtual items are being sold in the black market of gaming on eBay, and you'll see plethora of product that people are selling, accounts and so on right now.
That's a multi-billion-dollar a year economy, and it has been for 10 years.
It has been already there. Gold farming in World of Warcraft, right? It's already been there. Nobody said that, when you buy a gaming asset, you're there only for speculation. In fact, the majority of NFTs that are out there are actually being held. Millions of people are onboarding blockchain games, but a single-digit percentage is being traded, which is, by the way, how the real world works. You don't buy a shoe to sell tomorrow. You don't buy a car to sell tomorrow. You have the choice to sell it, right? But you don't necessarily do it for that reason, which is what most people do. And the same is happening for utility NFTs. So I think, again, it does come from a biased lens. And I think, again, I'm not sure, but maybe he's American or Western, that particular person. Because in Asia, everyone's like, this is great because I want to have the freedom of ownership. And again, just because I own it doesn't mean I have to sell it. That's kind of ridiculous.
The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.